Chapter 61 Fantasy. Interesting. You are listening at novelfold.audio. Chapter 61 Illusion. Interesting. There is no secret treasure of martial arts in the immortal crystal, let alone any natural treasure. Read, what there is just a dog with a completely black body. Seeing this scene, the tomb robbers who were just full of expectations couldn't help laughing at this moment. Originally thought that in such a high-quality immortal crystal, there must be treasures, but unexpectedly, after working hard for a long time, they actually dug out such a thing. Fuck, who is this? This is too wicked. They actually used good immortal crystals to pack a dog. I thought I was a dog enough, but I never expected that someone was even more dog than me. Some of the tomb robbers began to curse. As everyone knows, the immovable immortal crystal is an extremely precious treasure. In a spiritual vein covering an area of more than 10,000 feet, it is not necessarily possible to find a piece of immortal crystal, not to mention, what these tomb robbers have in front of them is the immortal crystal of the best quality, even if you dig tens of thousands of spiritual veins, you can't find a few pieces of fairy crystals like this. If this fairy crystal is in good condition, it may be worth some money, but these tomb robbers, in order to covet the treasures inside, cut the fairy crystal into pieces as soon as they opened it. In this way, the value of this fairy crystal is greatly reduced. The fairy crystal with all the spiritual stones scattered is too heavy to sell, let alone use as a chamber pot. Brothers, this man is too mean. He took away all the bamboo shoots on the mountain. He actually put a black dog in the fairy crystal. In my opinion, let's have dog meat hot pot tonight. Since this black dog is placed in the fairy crystal, maybe the meat is very nutritious. Hee, you know. What's wrong with you? Isn't this just an ordinary local dog? How nutritious can it be? 10 for a copper coin in the market is not enough. The tomb robbers quarreled, but they finally reached a consensus, that is, eat dog meat hot pot at night. For so many days, they can be said to have lived in the open air for this mausoleum. For the treasures under the mausoleum, they almost died several times. As a result, they actually dug up this thing at this moment. No one can bear this. Just as the tomb robbers were discussing, suddenly, an extremely terrifying phantom appeared in the fairy crystal. It was also a black dog. It soared into the sky, blocking the sky and the sun. Even the light coming in from the cave was swallowed by the phantom. The cold wind made the tomb robbers feel a chill. The black dog phantom, which was dozens of meters long, slowly lowered its head, and its cold giant pupils looked down at the tomb robbers. A roar like thunder rolled in and resounded in the ears of the tomb robbers. That was boundless anger. Reptile, I heard someone disturbing my sleep in a trance. You are damned. The black dog phantom snorted. Please forgive me, Senior. Please forgive me. We will leave now. Yes, we will leave now. Seeing the terrifying momentum of the black dog, the group of tomb robbers knelt on the ground and kowtowed like pounding garlic. They begged for mercy but cursed in their hearts, who the hell is this? It's okay to put a black dog in the fairy crystal, but this seemingly ordinary black dog turned out to be such a terrifying monster. This monster aura is probably more than the War King realm. The realm of the black dog is indeed more than the War King, but anyone who can follow Yi Fan is not an ordinary creature. I still remember the happy time that the black dog spent with Yi Fan tens of thousands of years ago, and the black dog couldn't stop missing him in his heart. Master, you sealed me in this fairy crystal because you were worried that I was not strong enough, so you went to the appointment alone. Now, Xiao Hei has seen the light of day again, but I don't know where you are. That the black dog sighed secretly, and the group of tomb robbers on the side were still kowtowing. The black dog in the void thundered, you guys, drag the fairy crystal outside. This place is too claustrophobic, and the fairy crystal can't absorb spiritual energy. Yes, we will drag it right away. After receiving the black dog's order, the group of tomb robbers began to drag the fairy crystal out of the cave. South Province, there are 3,000 Dao domains and 108,000 states. Among them, only the North Province and the South Province are the most remote and backward. Whether it is the number of geniuses, high-level cultivators, or natural treasures, they are far less than those in other states. Elsewhere, perhaps a War King realm is only worthy of being a Slave who empty the chamber pot, but here, he can become an existence that covers the sky with one hand. Yi Fan has a deep understanding of this. Before Yi Fan retired, he had also been to other domains. After Yi Fan brought Jing Tang to Nanzhou, he found that the people in the temple had arrived first, although they arrived a step late. Fortunately, all the creatures in Nanzhou were fine at the moment. Because the people in the temple just wanted to sacrifice the creatures in Nanzhou, it was precisely because of this that they would not kill them directly. At this moment, although the mountains and rivers in Nanzhou were broken, wars were raging, cracks in time and space appeared, and the world was crumbling, but most of the creatures in Nanzhou were safe at the moment. Xiao Jiu, I'm going to look for the descendants here. You don't have to follow me. Go and deal with your own affairs. Yi Fan said to Jing Tang. What Yi Fan said was naturally referring to the demon-subduing sect founded by Jing Tang here. Yes, master. Then Xiao Jiu will be back soon. Jing Tang said. Hey. Wait a minute, take this before you go. Yi Fan threw a talisman to Jing Tang. This is a cross-border talisman. With this talisman, as long as you are not more than one domain away, we can contact each other. Well, thank you, master. Jing Tang accepted the talisman, bowed respectfully to Yi Fan, and turned to fly away. Yi Fan looked at Jing Tang's flying back, his eyes flashing. These disciples of his have grown up now, and it's time for them to spread their wings and fly around. If they have been protected under his wings all the time, then they can't make their own way. Putting away these thoughts, Yi Fan followed the vague memory and began to look for the descendants of this place. After several twists and turns, Yi Fan came to the outside of a barren mountain. Looking at the layers of mountains, Yi Fan sighed slightly. I remember that 10,000 years ago, there were still thousands of mountains here. Now it is so desolate. It is really a time-lapse, and things are different now. 10,000 years ago, Yi Fan created a Wu family power here. With the support of thousands of mountains, the Wu family thrived in this area. However, Yi Fan did not stay here for too long. At that time, he was only concerned with collecting system tasks. After creating the Wu family, he passed the family position to an adopted son. 10,000 years have passed, and his adopted son in the past is probably gone. Sure enough, it was the same as Yi Fan thought. When he came to the front of the thousands of mountains, there were broken walls and ruins everywhere. Not to mention people, there was no living thing. Illusion. Interesting. Just as Yi Fan was searching in the ruins, a fantasy suddenly emerged and enveloped Yi Fan. In the fantasy, many graceful women also emerged. Chapter 62 Wu Lao Er calls me dad. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 62 Wu Lao Er calls me daddy. Yi Fan was in a fantasy world, and many graceful women appeared in front of him. The faces of these women were all charming and they danced around Yi Fan. They tried their best to seduce Yi Fan. However, in Yi Fan's opinion, these so-called stunning beauties are nothing more than vulgar. Don't say that Yi Fan doesn't have 100,000 years of experience in this world. Writing this, I hope readers will remember our domain name Taiwan Novel Network. In his previous life, Yi Fan would not have even looked at these vulgar fans. Moreover, Yi Fan could tell at a glance that they were not humans, but ghosts incarnate. Seeing that he still had the evil spirit of blood on him, he probably harmed many passers-by. Thinking of this, Yi Fan waved his hand and was ready to save the many demons and monsters in front of him. At this moment, a beautiful figure approached Mark. She has beautiful appearance and is about 17 or 18 years old. Like these ghosts in front of her, she is also an incarnation of a soul. Seeing this, Yi Fan raised his hand and prepared to kill her altogether, but the next moment, the movements of Yi Fan's hand stopped. Because of this, Yi Fan discovered that this woman's soul was very flawless, and there was no trace of blood evil at all. Sir, come with me quickly and I will take you out. There is a ghost king here. The ghost king has sent a female ghost to seduce you. If you don't leave, you may be in trouble. The female ghost hurriedly persuaded Yi Fan. When Yi Fan heard this, he couldn't help but look at the female ghost with admiration. He didn't expect that in this world, even ghosts had kind thoughts. Just when Mark was about to speak, the system in his mind rang. Ding, the system detected the descendant Wu Sueki, ghost state. Ask the host to cultivate the descendant, Wu Sueki. so as to obtain system rewards. Yi Fan couldn't help but be startled when he heard the system's beep. He didn't expect that the female ghost in front of him was actually his descendant. This was a bit beyond Yi Fan's expectation. I thought that the Wu family was dead, but I didn't expect that there are still such descendants, and they are still ghosts. This gave Mark a wake-up call. Since descendants can exist in a ghost state, doesn't it mean that Yi Fan no longer has to worry about not being able to find descendants? No matter whether the force created by Yi Fan is destroyed or not, as long as there are descendants in this world, even the ghost state can trigger system tasks. Thinking of this, Yi Fan couldn't help but laugh. Seeing Yi Fan like this, the female ghosts around him took the opportunity to come and seduce him again. Yi Fan didn't pay attention to these brats. When he raised his hand, a ray of light rose up like a small tornado. Except for Wu Sueki, all the female ghosts around were killed by Yi Fan. Seeing this scene, Wu Sueki was so frightened that she said, "Sir, you have caused a big trouble. These are the ghosts under the Ghost King. Don't you be afraid of him taking revenge on you. Hurry up, young master, the Ghost King's cultivation is beyond your imagination. Although you have some cultivation, you are definitely no match for the Ghost King." That Wu Sueki was persuading Yi Fan to run away quickly before the Ghost King found out, but at this moment, a dark wind blew in front of Yi Fan. The next moment, a huge piece of black mist flew over from a distance, and an overwhelming gloomy whirlwind swept in. In the Yin Chi whirlwind, you can vaguely see a Ghost King who looks like a warrior. Wearing armor and holding a long sword, he looked majestic. The strange thing is that his pair of eyes flashed with a faint green light, extremely ferocious, and he said in a cold voice, "Wu Sueki, how dare you to collude with this pretty boy to kill my men? The Ghost King has come out, and it is already impossible for Wu Sueki to run away at this time." Facing the Ghost King's scolding, Wu Sueki's face turned pale, and despair filled her heart. Wu Sueki pursed her lips and smiled bitterly. "Sir, you acted too quickly. I told you that the Ghost King is not so easy to mess with. Now, even I have to be buried with you." Yi Fan is actually a monk, and he seems to have relatively strong magic power, but facing the more powerful Ghost King, Wu Sueki did not think that Yi Fan would be the Ghost King's opponent. You must know that the Ghost King is equivalent to a monk in the realm of War King, while ordinary ghosts like them are equivalent to minions in the realm of warrior disciples. I originally wanted to give you to the old demon Xian Ming, but you are so ignorant of appreciation, so I can only make you lose your soul. That the Ghost King scolded Wu Sueki. When the Ghost King came out just now, he completely ignored Mark. What the Ghost King didn't know was that he had made a fatal mistake. If he had been prepared at the beginning, he might have relied on his ghost state. There is still a trace of residual soul left under Yi Fan's hands. Although it will be difficult to cultivate to the Ghost King in the future, at least the soul will not be scattered, but at this moment, it is obviously too late to talk about this. Yi Fan ignored Wu Sueki's words, his eyes sparkling. Then, he glanced at the Ghost King. "Ah!" A scream came from the Ghost King's mouth. With such an understatement, the Ghost King's body was divided into two parts. Yi Fan's actions were too much and he didn't give the Ghost King time to react. Only after the Ghost King screamed did he realize that his ghost body had been broken. "You, who are you?" The Ghost King roared hysterically. Wu Sueki, who was standing by, saw this and her beautiful eyes were filled with doubts. Yi Fan broke the Ghost King in a flash, and she was in despair and didn't notice this scene at all. Wu Sueki couldn't imagine that this ordinary-looking cultivator next to him was so amazing. Yi Fan just glanced at the Ghost King and had no interest in talking to him at all. His eyes opened and closed again. The next moment, the Ghost King swept by, his eyes turned into a ball of black mist and his soul was completely gone. Wu Sueki. While she was shocked, Yi Fan suddenly asked her, "Do you know Wu Lao Er from the Imai Qingfeng Zenshangang?" Imai Qingfeng Zenshangang, busy farming with clean hands. This is the ancestral precept of the Wu family. Why does the young man in front of him know it? Could it be that he is a friend of the Wu family's ancestor? No, seeing how young he is, he should be a descendant, right? But Wu Sueki thought about it and thought that since the young man was a cultivator, he must know how to keep his youthful appearance. Wu Lao Er is the ancestor of the Wu family. Could it be that you are a friend of my ancestor? Wu Sueki asked in surprise. Yi Fan shook his head lightly. I am not a friend of Wu Lao Er. I am his father. I founded the Wu family. What? Are you kidding me? Wu Sueki suspected that there was something wrong with her ears. She looked at Yifan blankly. Senior, is this true? Yifan did not speak again, but took out a painting from his sleeve and threw it into her hands. Wu Sueki took out the painting and opened it. It was a picture of Yifan. After a long time, Wu Sueki finally came back to her senses. She remembered that she had seen this portrait in her secret room before, and the one in the portrait just matched this one. The 99th generation of the Wu family, kowtow to the ancestor. Chapter 63, Ho-Tu Heritage. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Chapter 63 Hutu Inheritance. Deep in the millions of mountains in Beizhou, Yifan killed the Ghost Queen and took his descendant Wu Sueki to the Ghost King's cave. Although the Ghost King lives underground, he also has his own cave on the ground, although the cave here is far inferior to Yifan's cave paradise, but at any rate, it's a secluded place. Yifan sat on a stone bench, took out the spiritual tea from the space and brewed it. The divine light on the spiritual tea flickered, and it looked like it was not a mortal thing. This was after Yifan completed the system task in his early years. The Wanyan Ling tea rewarded by the system has extraordinary effects. After a monk drinks this spiritual tea, he can increase his cultivation level by a large amount out of thin air, and if a mortal drinks it, his lifespan will skyrocket. This effect is much better than the flat peaches planted in heaven in the prehistoric world. After a cup of tea was brewed, Yifan took a sip and looked at Wu Sueki. Would you like to take a sip too? This tea is not good, but it's still passable. Wu Sueki smiled bitterly and said, Junior would really like to drink it, but I am in a ghost state. Oh, I forgot about this. Yifan nodded. I have a supreme physique that can help you restore your body. Do you want it? Wu Sueki shook her head and said, this junior is already used to the ghost state, and it feels very awkward to return to the human body now. If Wu Sueki had died just a few years ago, maybe she would want to be resurrected, but she has been dead for decades and is no longer used to the physical state. Perhaps this is also the reason why her soul is so flawless. Seeing this, Yifan didn't force it, since his descendants wanted to continue to maintain their soul state. Then Mark also has a way to help her practice with her soul state. It's also possible that my descendants will be heroes in life and heroes in death. After a pause, Yifan continued, since you want to maintain your soul state, then I will give you a great blessing. Great fortune. When Wu Sueki heard this, she felt extremely excited. Even her ancestor said it was a great blessing, so she would definitely be able to reach the sky in one step. After all, my ancestor was able to kill a strong man in the Ghost King realm just by talking and laughing. She nodded heavily. Thank you, ancestor. Xueqi will live up to the trust of ancestor. The next moment, Yifan reached out his finger and tapped it between Wu Sueki's eyebrows. Boom. The next moment, Wu Sueki came to a completely unfamiliar world. There is a cloudy sun hanging in the sky, surrounded by clouds of souls and ghostly aura. In the gloomy building complex in the distance, a plaque hung in the air. There are 4 big characters written on it, Underworld. Suddenly, a terrifying noise came from under the underworld, and a terrifying aura suddenly spread from under the sky towards the sky. It's like there is a supreme being, a giant, that is resurrecting and is about to be born. Ancient Witch Clan. Qingtian follows the example of Empress Tuhuang's residence. Master Hutu. Feeling this aura, the expressions of all the beings on the underworld interface changed drastically. A terrifying breath awakened from the underworld, that was none other than the real master of the underworld. The 10 kings of Yama all knelt down and worshipped her when they saw her, because she was once one of the ancient ancestral witches, Hutu. In the distant ancient times, when they were fighting for hegemony, the witch clan was once the protagonist of the world. As one of the 12 ancestral witches, Hutu was the most noble and powerful one. It is no exaggeration to say that Ho-Tu is the god of the underworld, the most peak existence. As long as they are creatures in the 3 realms, even saints are no match for her. At this moment, a dark red passage exploded in the endless underworld, and living beings really appeared under the 6 paths of reincarnation. It was a woman. Her whole body was like jade, crystal clear, white and tender, as flawless as mutton fat white jade, overwhelming, spanning 2 realms, suspended in the sky above the underworld. Looking below the woman, she knelt down and worshipped the Yin soldiers and Yin generals. Among these Yin soldiers, there were the 18th Palace King Yama, the judge and so on. It's a spectacular sight, and Wu Sueki packs a huge punch. She is also a woman, why can't she be like Ho too? Women don't give way to men, just like ghosts. She secretly made a wish in her heart that one day, she would be like this woman, and no one could stop her from being worshipped by all ghosts. The next moment, after stepping through the void, Hoodoo Emperor's residence looked at Wu Sueki. Whoosh! The next moment, Wu Sueki felt her mind explode, and countless complicated runes appeared in her mind. Hotu inheritance. Qingtian followed the example of Ho Tu Huangdi Mansion, who is the real master of Jiuyo. He is in charge of the lower 3 realms, the 18 palaces of Yama, the 36 ghost generals, the 72 judges, and the hundreds of millions of ghosts are all returned to Ho Tu's control. Life and death are just a matter of one thought. Wu Sueki was very shocked when she saw the opening paragraph, although she didn't know what the level of cultivation of King Yama and the underworld was. However, as far as Wu Sueki knew, the ghost king who enslaved her before was probably not as good as the ghost generals in the underworld, not to mention King Yama or Hoodoo. Yi Fan was still drinking tea. After waiting for a while, Wu Sueki gradually woke up. Hoodoo has built a fort, Hoodoo has built a fort. These were Wu Sueki's first words when she woke up. What bunker? Yi Fan asked nonchalantly. Ancestor. Wu Sueki gave a respectful salute to Yi Fan. Junior is saying that the inheritance bunker of the great god Hoodoo is here. I just looked through it a little bit, and it's so awesome. If I can also cultivate to the level of Ho Tu, I won't be afraid of any ghost king in the future. Hearing Wu Sueki say this, Yi Fan shook his head slightly. If Wu Sueki can really obtain Ho Tu's inheritance, and meet the ghost king just now, can't he kill him with a breath? Wu Sueki didn't know that the inheritance of the great god Ho Tu had long surpassed the realm of the war king. If it can really be passed down in full, I'm afraid that this great Dao domain of 3000 can also let her gallop. After all, the great god Ho Tu has the cultivation of the saint realm, although I don't know what kind of cultivation the saint corresponds to in this world. It must be a warlord. Ancestor, this Ho Tu is so powerful, why have I never heard of her name? Is it possible that she is not from this state? Wu Sueki sighed. She is not only not from this state, she is not from this world. Yi Fan laughed in his heart, but still said, just practice well. As long as the ancestor is here, you can certainly be stronger than her. Hearing this, Wu Sueki was overjoyed and nodded seriously. Ancestor, don't worry, Sueki will definitely practice hard. Well, when you practice to the Ghost King realm, the ancestor will give you another gift. Yi Fan said again, ghost cultivation is divided into ghosts, evil ghosts, ghost soldiers, ghost generals, and ghost kings. The Ghost King realm is like a human war king. Seeing Wu Sueki so energetic, Yi Fan's mind couldn't help but become active. It seems that there is no ghost force in this world. I might as well build one. Anyway, I have the human book rewarded by the system in my hand. Chapter 64 The Holy Lord of the Fourth Stage. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 64, The Fourth Level Saint Lord. That if you mention the Book of Humanity, anyone with a little common sense will think of the Book of Life and Death. During the journey to the West, Buddhism was destined to flourish. The Buddhist sect planned the journey to the West and secretly instigated Sun Wukong to make trouble in the underworld. When Sun Wukong made trouble in the underworld, he destroyed the Book of Life and Death. However, the Book of Life and Death that Sun Wukong tampered with was not the real Book of Humanity. It was just taken out by the Buddhist sect to cover up the truth. The real Book of Humanity had long been hidden by the powerful behind the scenes, and now, the Book of Humanity, one of the 3 books, the Book of Life and Death, has fallen into Yi Fan's hands. It is said that when Hongmeng was first judged and chaos began, the 3 books of heaven, earth, and man had already appeared in the world. It was the power of the 3 books that maintained all the cause and effect of future generations. The Book of Heaven is the list of conferred gods. It is said that this treasure was originally in the hands of Hongjun Daozu. It was used to restrain the gods and immortals, and the 84,000 gods were conferred. The Book of Earth is the classic of mountains and seas. It is said that this book records the direction of mountains and rivers, lakes and other land veins in the prehistoric land, and can canonize tens of thousands of earth immortals. you should know that although earth immortals are only small immortals such as land and river gods, there are many of them. Once they gather their strength, they can also be comparable to the power of heaven, and they are also a great force. The Book of Man is the book of life and death, which records the birth, death, and lifespan of all lives in the three realms of heaven, earth and man. King Yama needs to strictly follow the contents of the Book of Life and Death to send his men to take actions such as soul hunting and life requiring. The Book of Life and Death directly controls the life and death of people. Once the death date is set, even the golden immortal of Daluo cannot escape. Although what I have in my hand is not a real Book of Life and Death, fortunately it has growth potential. When Xiao cultivates to the Ghost King, I will give this treasure to her to nurture. Yi Fan thought secretly. In fact, Yi Fan got this magic weapon a long time ago, but he had no choice but to activate such magic weapons only in the ghost state. He couldn't use it at all, because he had never met a suitable treasure holder before. Now that I have found Wu Sueki, the descendant, I can give her this treasure. When Wu Sueki grows up, she will surely be able to exert the true power of the Book of Life and Death. At that time, she will come forward and establish the 9 Netherworld in this world, and Yi Fan will be the emperor, ruling the country from behind the curtain. Isn't it wonderful? Since there is no master of the 6 reincarnations in this world, it is my right to create it. Yi Fan looked up at the sky and murmured softly. Ding, the descendant of the host, Xiao Hei, has advanced to the battle body realm, and the host is rewarded with the 2nd level of battle emperor cultivation. That the system's prompt sound suddenly sounded. As soon as the words fell, Yi Fan's body was filled with surging mana, and the rules of this world in his body became clearer. After advancing to the 2nd level of battle emperor, I completely consolidated my battle emperor cultivation. Little Yuer, that girl, has cultivated quite fast, and she has lived up to my expectations of her. Yi Fan felt relieved, and a fatherly smile appeared on his face. I didn't expect that I could advance to the 2nd level of the War Emperor just by drinking tea leisurely. If I tell this to others, I'm afraid no one will believe it, and they will say you are crazy. But Yi Fan did it. While feeling relieved, Yi Fan felt a little disappointed. If I had built a 180 million force at the beginning, my cultivation would have grown like a rocket now. Yi Fan felt a little regretful. He should have built more forces earlier. However, the system did not reward regret medicine, and it was too late for Yi Fan to regret now. Hey! Yi Fan sighed. When Xiao cultivates to the level of a ghost general, I will go to Zijinzu to find Xiao Hei. It seems that there is one of my descendants there. Xiao Hei was a local dog that Yi Fan picked up from the garbage dump when he first came to this world. Later, with the reward of the system from Yi Fan, he cultivated it into a great demon, and he regarded himself as the Black Emperor and shouted all day long that he wanted to be petted by people. I sealed Xiao Hei in the fairy crystal because of the special circumstances. Calculating the time, Xiao Hei should come out. I hope he won't blame me. Beizhou, on the top of a mountain, 2 eyes like the scorching sun opened again at this moment. The red gold eyes, like a scorching sun, rose in this dim world and illuminated the whole world. Huh! Beizhou actually has a war emperor monk sitting in it, and killed my guardian earth monarch? He was a little surprised and doubtful, but more of it was furious. Boom! The next moment, in this grey world, the whole world has dried up, from the pool to the river and the ocean, all dried up, all the vegetation withered. This place has become as cold as the Arctic ice field, without any heat, desolate, barren, empty, lonely and cold. Beizhou is so desolate here, and there can actually be a war emperor monk. This is a bit strange. Then, the entire stone wall and the mountain pile suddenly emitted a dazzling light, so bright that people could not open their eyes, as if 2 scorching suns were rising slowly. Boom boom boom, that a series of earth-shaking explosions came, and the entire valley shook, and the ground cracked into several large cracks. The violent gale swept around the valley, and the bushes were crushed into slag by the gale, and grass debris flew everywhere. In this big world, a face that covered the sky and the sun suddenly appeared. Then the next moment, from the depths of the small world, an old man in a grey robe and a slender figure floated in. Welcome to the 4th level Holy Master. I am sorry that I came to greet you. The grey-robed old man knelt down and bowed. Zhang Jianlai, I heard that the 4th tier branch alliance went to Beizhou to search for treasures. Is this true? A roar came from the huge face, like the words of heaven. Hearing this, the grey-robed old man paused and defended, to answer the Holy Lord, this is all the people in the branch alliance doing their own thing, not my intention. Puff. Before the voice fell, the sky and the earth changed color. Feng Yun was mighty. Endless runes filled the air and entangled the grey-robed old man. Then, a blood mist suddenly rose from below. It was this grey-robed old man who was strangled by the 4th Holy Lord. Not long after, another grey-robed old man appeared in front of him, but his blood was much dimmer than before. Zhang Jianlai, I'm taking your life to warn you. In the future, you should restrain your subordinates well. If this happens again, hum. The sound of Huang Zhong de Lu echoed in the air, and the endless pressure shook Zhang Jinlai's body like a tide. It was just a cold snort, but cold sweat had already wet the back of the grey-robed old man. Don't worry, Lord Saint, I will definitely control my subordinates in the future, and this will never happen again. The grey-robed old man prostrated himself on the ground and kowtowed like pounding garlic. It was not until a long time later that there was no sound in the void. Zhang Jianlai barely stopped kowtow. He first carefully inquired about it, and then he got up from the ground. Lord Saint of the 4th stage, how come you are also paying attention to the wild land of Beizhou? Fortunately, I don't have any idea about Beizhou. After escaping from death, the grey-robed old man couldn't help but murmur. Chapter 65 Young Master is Wise. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Purple Gold Province, Purple Gold Capital. Read, Taiwan Novel Network. Diamond Suit. Diamond Suit, Purple Gold Province is one of the most prosperous provinces among the 3,108,000 provinces in the Dao domain, and the Purple Gold Capital, as the center of Purple Gold Province, its prosperity can be imagined. In the Purple Gold Capital, there are rows of towering mountains. The cultivators here are different from human cultivators. They don't like to build their homes on the streets. They prefer to choose the place of cultivation on the mountains where spiritual energy gathers. From a distance, the mountains are really majestic, vigorous and handsome. The most important thing is that they are very clear, but the power of the formation has isolated this place. In the center of the mountains, there is a huge mountain about 80,000 feet high. Under the huge mountain is a gate made of stone jade. It is thousands of feet long, heavy and huge, simple and natural, and there are flashing runes on the stone door. The most surprising thing is that there are 2 monks in the realm of war candidates standing outside this stone door. Both of the monks have reached the first level of war candidates. Letting the monks look at the gate is enough to see the extraordinariness of this cave. The cave here is extremely wide, and the cave inside is even more magnificent. If there are people who understand the formation here, they will know that it is caused by the formation of space. It looks like a cave 10,000 feet high from the outside, but it is a small city inside. In this city, there is a smell of incense powder everywhere, which is used by female monks here to enhance their charm. The incense powder was originally collected from fairy grass and refined, and it is considered a herb, but the smell of the incense powder here is particularly strong, and it has changed its taste a bit when it is extremely fragrant, and it seems so pungent. What is even more shocking is that there is no so-called family living in this whole city. It is a large wine pool and meat forest. There is a naked man with 2 flower arms tattooed on his body and a chrysanthemum tattooed all over his body, which looks very evil. The man is soaking in the spirit wine pool, and there are many female cultivators around him. Some are dancing, some are drinking, and some are barbecuing, which fully expresses the 4 words smoky and foul. The man is drinking happily, and the flowers are gradually dazzling. Suddenly, a middle-aged man flew over the city. The middle-aged man knelt on one knee. In the void, young master, a big monster suddenly appeared in the middle of Zijinzu. Recently, it has destroyed many of our sect buildings. Big monster, the tattooed man in the wine pool became interested. What is the origin of this big monster? How dare it be so bold? To answer the young master, this is a monster beast that has become a black dog. Its realm is about the 7th level of the battle stage. It has never been seen before. It should have appeared recently. After this big monster appeared, many cultivators in Zijin continent went to capture it. The middle-aged man replied, as soon as this word came out, the tattooed man's curiosity was immediately aroused. Really? Is it a male monster or a female monster? Looking at the tattooed man's weird smile, the middle-aged man knew what he was thinking. Good fellow, our young master is really not limited to men and women, old and young, and now he doesn't even let go of monsters. Although he despised the young master's love of men and women, he still replied, "Young master, this black monster is a male, and it is very ferocious, it is not so easy to subdue." "Is that so?" The tattooed man nodded slightly. "Then pass on my words, let Xuanhuan sect and Tianwu sect send people out to suppress and kill this big monster. Remember, the fur of this black dog cannot be destroyed. I want to make a cloak for my concubine." In Zijinzu, in addition to the top war masters above, the Xuanhuan sect and Tianwu sect are the most powerful. Of course, in addition to these two forces, there is another family that occupies a place in Zijinzu, that is the Xing family in the south of Zijinzu. "Young master, do you need to send someone to the Xing family?" The middle-aged man asked abruptly. "The Xing family has always been neutral. If you can use this excuse to completely regain him, it would be a good thing." Thinking of this, the tattooed man said in a deep voice, "I heard that the young master of the Xing family is a born cripple. You take my heavenly thunder divine water with you." Hearing this, the middle-aged man was stunned. The heavenly thunder divine water is a divine elixir, and it is so easy to give it to the Xing family. "Humph, what divine elixir, in my eyes, is not as good as a pea of my concubine." The tattooed man kissed the cheek of the beautiful girl next to him, with confused eyes, and said wantonly, "A divine elixir in exchange for the surrender of the Xing family is very cost-effective in his opinion." The young master is wise, that the middle-aged man complained in his heart, but still bowed and shouted. "Go quickly and come back quickly," that the middle-aged man then left. After leaving the city, the middle-aged man smiled bitterly. The master of the family got such a treasure, a young master, how could he not decline? The divine holy medicine is even compared to women's pee. I am also drunk. However, what the middle-aged man could not have imagined was that the tattooed man had indeed added some ingredients to the elixir, and this ingredient was poisonous. In the southern part of Zijin continent, in a remote mountain, the cave here, although not as magnificent as the one just now, is better in being quiet, and the buildings on the mountain are very antique. There are pavilions, towers, flowers, plants, fish and insects. If a modern person comes here, he can see at a glance that these are all modern architectural styles. At this moment, in the main peak of the Xing family, a weak young man was lying on the gums. There were two figures standing next to him. One of the figures was the young man's ancestor, Xing Fan, the current head of the Xing family. The latter was a Taoist priest invited by Xing Fan to treat the boy. "Master Xing, please forgive my incompetence. This child's illness is really strange. He was born without a soul and a spirit. I really can't do anything. Master Yuani, I know what you said, but my great-grandson is about to die. Can you prescribe a prescription to extend his life?" That the old man in Taoist robe shook his head. "Master Zhang, if you want to extend the life of your great-grandson, only a few kinds of god-level elixirs can do it, but how can you find these things in ordinary people? Master Zhang, your great-grandson will not live through next month. Please accept my condolences. Goodbye." Watching the old man in Taoist robe leave, Xing Fan couldn't help but feel bitter on his face. "Grandpa, don't worry about me, a dying man." A childish voice sounded from the gums, touching the former's head. Xing Fan said, "Don't worry, great-grandson, I will definitely find a way to cure you." Although he said so, the old man sighed in his heart. If my ancestor was here, it would be great. With the ancestor's ability to know everything, he would definitely be able to cure his great-grandson. At this moment, a voice suddenly came from outside the cave. "Master Zhang, young Master Xuanhuan sent someone to deliver the heavenly thunder water. Please come forward to subdue the dog demon." Chapter 66 Leaving Early. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Ding, the system detects the descendant, Wu Sueki. Read. Advanced Ghost Soldier, special reward for the host's 4th level of War Emperor Cultivation. That the system's prompt sounded in Yifan's mind. At this time, he was sitting on the lawn in the valley, with a barbecue grill in front of him. although there is nothing delicious in Nanzhou, it is also good to eat some game occasionally. Hearing the system's prompt, Yi Fan smiled. It feels so good to be able to advance by eating, drinking and having fun all day without practicing. The divine mind swept the heart lake in the body. After advancing to the middle level of War Emperor, the chaotic world in Yi Fan's body began to give birth to all things. After the cultivator advances to the War Emperor realm, the heart lake in the body evolves towards the chaotic world. It can be said that it has become a world of its own. Yi Fan believes that if he advances from War Emperor to Warlord, then the world in his body can be fully formed. But this is no wonder. After all, Warlord can communicate with the laws of the Great Way of heaven and earth. If there is no world in the body, how can these great ways be deduced? After pulling out the divine consciousness from the body, Yi Fan sighed slightly. I thought I could stay here and wait for Shui Yatu to break through the Ghost King realm, but... Yi Fan remembered that he had sensed Xiao Hei's breath from the purple gold continent a while ago. It seems that Xiao Hei has come out of the seal in advance. Because of this, Yi Fan can't continue to stay here. Xiao Hei is different from Yi Fan's other disciples. Since Yi Fan came to the God and Demon continent, Xiao Hei has been with him. Rather than saying that he is Yi Fan's pet, it is better to say that he is Yi Fan's relative, and the relationship is very deep. As the saying goes, dogs are the most loyal friends of humans. This sentence is absolutely true. Yi Fan still remembers that when he was weak before, he once met a powerful cultivator. When fighting with him, Yi Fan almost died, and it was thanks to Xiao Hei, who bit off the cultivator's leg regardless of his own safety, that Yi Fan got the opportunity to kill him. There are countless similar things. Xiao Hei has deep feelings for Yi Fan, and Yi Fan also takes him to heart. Every time, he takes out the best natural treasures from the system and feeds Xiao Hei. So, although Xiao Hei is just a local dog on the surface, he is not much worse than a prehistoric beast. Xiao Hei, I have to go find you. Anyway, it's not dangerous for Shui girl to stay here. Yi Fan muttered to himself. Wu Sueki will not encounter any danger if she stays in Nanzhou. The most powerful cultivator here is only at the war candidate realm, and it is still a low-level war candidate realm. This is the same as Beizhou. No mid-level war candidate cultivator has been born. No wonder the people in the temple say that these two states are remote and poor. You know, Yi Fan has set foot in other domains before. In other places, the war candidate realm is just a middle-lower level combat power, but in Nanzhou, it has become the top combat power, which has to be said to be a mockery. In this case, it would be better for Yi Fan to go to Zijin province and pick up Xiao Hei first instead of staying here. Yi Fan was obviously worried about leaving Xiao Hei alone in Zijin province. Yi Fan knew that there were many warriors in Zijin province, and there were also warriors in the realm of Emperor. A few days later. Grandfather, I have broken through the middle level of ghost soldiers. That Wu Sueki came out of Ho-Tu inheritance excitedly, but she couldn't see Yi Fan at a glance. Just wondering where Yi Fan ran to, she suddenly found a jade tube on the grass. She picked it up and put it in front of her head. Shui girl, Ancestor, I have something to deal with, so I'll go first. You continue to practice here, don't look for me, I will come to you after you become a ghost king. Grandfather. After listening to the voice transmission in the jade tube, Wu Sueki burst into tears. She lost her relatives since she was young, and it was hard for her to feel the warmth of her relatives again here with Yi Fan, but now, the Ancestor has also left. Don't worry, Ancestor, I will not let you down and strive to break through the Ghost King realm as soon as possible. Wu Sueki swore secretly. At this time, she found that there was a talisman and a book next to the jade tube. Wu Sueki knew this talisman. Yi Fan mentioned it in the voice transmission. It is used to communicate with each other. As for this book, that Wu Sueki took it from the ground and saw 3 big words written on it, Book of Life and Death, in a secret space, Een. There was a sword sound echoing in the space, the magic power was vast, and the stars were shining. A semi-arc-shaped spiritual light exploded in this space, and the one who released this sharp sword move was a girl with a cold face but beautiful, Xiao Hei. Disciple, I didn't expect that you only took a few months to comprehend my Antian sword technique. In this way, I can leave with peace of mind. An old voice sounded, coming from Master Biopuzzi. Although Biopuzzi's lifespan has come to an end, he is still very pleased to be able to pass on his sword skills. as the saying goes, it is better to ask for the way in the morning and die in the evening. After a pause, Bio Pussy smiled at Xiao Dai and said, "Disciple, there is nothing left for me to teach you. Your divine weapon and jade body are much stronger than I thought. But before I leave this world, can I hear you call me master?" After Bio Pussy finished speaking, there was no movement for a long time. Seeing this, Bao Pussy waved his hand. "If you don't want to call me master, forget it. I don't have much time left." After saying this, a wisp of Bao Pussy's soul gradually began to blur. "Master." Finally, Xiao Dai still called out these two words. Bao Pussy was slightly stunned, and immediately smiled with relief. My good disciple." The next moment, the remnant soul of Bao Pussy completely dissipated in this world. Xiao Dai put away the Daobing divine sword, knelt down and kowtowed to the place where Bao Pussy just dissipated, and said, "Master, go with peace of mind. Your Antian sword Dao will surely flourish in my hands." A restaurant near the Zijin capital in Zijin province, the first floor of the restaurant was now full of diners. The most eye-catching one was a young man in white clothes. His white clothes were whiter than snow, and his appearance was very majestic. Opposite the young man in white, there was also a quirky boy sitting. After the waiter brought the wine and food, the young man in white filled the glass with wine, then poured it on the ground in one direction. Seeing Yi Fan pouring out the wine, the clever boy was puzzled and asked, "Young master, why did you pour out the wine?" "Nothing, just paying tribute to an old friend. Although this old friend didn't get along with me when he was alive, we were acquainted." Chapter 67 Xiao Hei appears. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 67 Xiao Hei appears. Brother Yi, I didn't expect that you are not only so powerful in martial arts, but also so eloquent in your speech. Read. Brother Yi, do you want to be the top scholar? The clever boy looked at Yi Fan and couldn't help asking. Yi Fan ignored him, and he couldn't respond. Would he reveal his identity just for this joke? Isn't this nonsense? At the same time, a maid came over, holding a corner of her clothes with her beautiful hands, looking shy. "Mr. Yi, my lady invites you to come over." "Got it." Then Yi Fan stood up and walked to the second floor. Seeing this scene, the eccentric young man beside was surprised. "Auntie Wang, when did you become so gentle?" "I was surprised, you know." The young woman frowned and said unhappily, "Stinky boy, if you keep talking nonsense, I will tear your mouth apart." Hearing this, the young man said, "Auntie Wang, your delicate tone just now made me embarrassed. Where is cooler?" On the other side, Yi Fan stepped onto the second floor of the restaurant. Yi Fan pushed open a private room on the second floor of the hotel, where people from the Qingyuan Chamber of Commerce Saturday. "Mr. Yi, you are here, sit down quickly, this time thanks to your help, otherwise we would have died long ago." As soon as Yi Fan entered the private room, a strong man stood up to greet him. This time when he came to Zijinzu, Yi Fan encountered a group of robbers robbing the Chamber of Commerce, so, Yi Fan saved the Chamber of Commerce from the robbers. Of course, Yi Fan saved them just to get some information. Although he had been to Zijin province before, that was tens of thousands of years ago. There must have been a lot of changes in Zijin province today. When Yi Fan came to Zijin province to build his power, he was still a low-level war king cultivator. But now, he is already a mid-level war emperor. Yi Fan waved his hand, indicating that everyone did not need to be polite, and then sat in front of the wine table. At the center of the wine table, a girl was sitting at the moment. She was the young master of Qingyang Chamber of Commerce. "Just now, thanks to Mr. Yi for saving us from the Packhorse gang, otherwise, we would have been killed. Mr. Yi, I toast you a glass." The girl stood up and raised her glass to Yi Fan respectfully. "It's just a small favor, no need to do so." Yi Fan waved his hand to signal the girl to sit down quickly. "Hey, Master Yi, how can I repay you for saving my life? If you need me in the future, Scythe Mantis, will do anything for you," a middle-aged man said proudly. "What scythe? When the robbers from the horse gang came just now, you ran faster than anyone else." A gang member said this at the wine table. "You know nothing. Do you think everyone is like you, frightened to death by the enemy? Besides, I'm going back to get help." "Bullshit, just run away, what's the big talk? I've never seen anyone as shameless as you. You. Enough, stop arguing, the girl at the table scolded, and then smiled at Yi Fan. Mr. Yi, I'm sorry to make you laugh, but after all, this time we were able to be rescued thanks to Mr. Yi. After a pause, the girl continued to ask, Mr. Yi, after crossing this hill, we will enter the Purple Gold City. I wonder what Mr. Ye's next plan is. Yi Fan is so skilled that he just killed a group of War King robbers with one sword. Seeing the prey, the young master of Qingyang Chamber of Commerce was happy to see Yi Fan. If he could keep Yi Fan in their team, I'm afraid that there would be more guarantee for transporting goods in the future. Oh. What forces are there in the Purple Gold City now? Yi Fan asked. The Purple Gold capital is the most prosperous area of the Purple Gold continent, and there are more than tens of millions of forces inside. The beautiful girl thought, but if we talk about the most powerful ones, apart from the State Lord's forces, they are the Giang sect, the Tianwu sect, and the Zheng family. Zheng family? Yi Fan was a little surprised, wondering if this Zheng family was the force he left behind. Seeing Yi Fan's surprise, the beautiful girl continued, yes, it is the Zheng family. The head of the Zheng family, Zheng Fan, is nicknamed Fighting Buddha. He can defeat all the demons in the world with an iron rod and has the strength of a high-level warrior. It's amazing. Fighting Buddha, Zheng Fan. Hearing this, Yi Fan smiled. It seems that the nickname is right. If people may have the same name, but this nickname is definitely impossible to repeat. Thinking back to more than 10,000 years ago, Yi Fan used the pseudonym Zheng in the Purple Gold capital and established the Zheng family forces here, and this Zheng Fan is Yi Fan's biological son. All the way from Beizhou, Yi Fan has now gained 4 descendants. Finally, there is a force that is still at its peak and has not declined. But this is also a very normal thing, because when the forces were first created, Yi Fan did not have many treasures rewarded by the system, so the forces created in the early days had very few things that could be passed down. But later, Yi Fan got more and more treasures, and naturally left more for the later forces. This Zheng Fan is Yi Fan's own son. When he left a lot of treasures, but even so, it is probably not enough to support Zheng Fan to practice to the high level of the war candidate. With his current strength, he didn't expect any adventures in the middle. But no matter how many adventures I have, it has not changed the fact that I am his employee. Yi Fan thought secretly in his heart. So many years have passed, and I didn't expect that the crybaby who was very afraid of the dark and even dared not sleep alone back then has now been called the Fighting Buddha. Yi Fan recalled the past and couldn't help but sigh. At this time, the beautiful woman continued, by the way, Mr. Yi, there was news from the Purple Gold capital just now, saying that a dog demon appeared in the capital, with the cultivation level of the 7th level of the battle. At this moment, the Zheng family and 2 sects have joined forces to capture the big demon. What? As soon as these words came out, Yi Fan's face suddenly changed. The dog demon in the beautiful woman's mouth. I'm afraid it's not the little black who followed him back then. The more Yi Fan thought about it, the more he felt that this was the case. After all, monsters are different from humans, and their cultivation speed is very difficult. If you want to cultivate to the high level of the battle, you don't have enough talent and luck. That's something you can't even think about. And once a monster cultivates to the high level of the battle, it must have a high level of intelligence. If it is not necessary, it will not go to the place where the monks gather, let alone such a prosperous area as the Purple Gold City. From this, it can be seen that this dog demon must be Xiao Hei. This is interesting. My good son is going to attack my former pet. Zheng Fan, you little brat have grown up. When I catch you, I will beat you up. Chapter 68 The Power of a Dog. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Purple Gold City. After a long absence, Yi Fan finally returned here. Taiwan Novel Network. The last time Yi Fan came here, he was to complete the system task and leave his power here. At that time, Yi Fan was just a cultivator at the War King level. In this Purple Gold continent, the War King level cultivators are nothing, but this time when he came back, Yi Fan had already broken through the middle level of the War Emperor. In this continent, the War Emperor cultivators can also be regarded as powerful, but even so, Yi Fan couldn't be happy. no matter who heard the news that their son was going to fuck their pet, it would be impossible to be happy. Although this black dog is just Yi Fan's pet, he has been with it for so long. Yi Fan has long regarded Xiao Hei as his own family. Young Master Yi, we have arrived. Look ahead is the mountain range where the big monsters appear. That the beautiful young lady of the Qingyang Chamber of Commerce pointed to the mountains ahead and said excitedly. Originally, the Qingyang Chamber of Commerce came to the Purple Gold City to purchase some goods and had no intention of joining in the fun, but since Yi Fan proposed to come, they couldn't refuse. In the eyes of the people of the Qingyang Chamber of Commerce, the reason why Yi Fan wanted to come here was nothing more than to see the fun. In fact, there were quite a few people who came here to see the fun. At this moment, the night sky was dotted with stars, and it was obvious that it was late at night. The cultivators of the God and Demon continent were different from the earth of Yi Fan's previous life. The residents here didn't have much nightlife. Once at night, they either went to bed early or practiced meditation in the cave. If there was nothing else, they would not come out. The reason why they gathered here this time was naturally to rush to the dog monster. You know, in the Purple Gold City, it is rare to see monsters appear. Since the Lord of the State took over Zijin, the monsters in this state have been strangled almost to death. Ordinary cultivators have to go to very remote places to find a monster, not to mention a big city like Zijin City. Therefore, the appearance of the dog monster this time is indeed a rare thing. Looking at the mountains ahead, Yi Fan nodded slightly. He had sensed it just now, and it was indeed Xiao Hei's breath in front. In addition to Xiao Hei, there was another breath that was very familiar. Yi Fan knew that it came from his son Xing Fan. In Yi Fan's perception, Xiao Hei's aura was still very strong, and he didn't suffer any damage. Yes, Xiao Hei is now a high-level cultivator of the battle candidate, and he has so many treasures. Even the peak battle candidate is not his opponent. Endless mountains, boundless, flat. On the mountain in the middle, you can see that there is a demonic aura soaring into the sky. The magic power is vast, and the clouds are filled. A woo! That a roar came from the dark clouds, and the black and gray demonic energy suddenly surged out. It was like a dark cloud covering the sky, spreading over the entire mountain range. The terrifying pressure instantly spread towards the endless mountains like a wave. Rumble. The demonic clouds gathered, the dark clouds rolled, and black thunders echoed over the endless mountains. And in the middle of the black cloud, a hideous giant demon head appeared. 2 8th-level cultivators still want to capture me. Go home and eat shit. There were 2 figures standing opposite the black cloud, namely Tu Jiaojiao, the leader of Giang sect, and Chang Yun, the leader of Tianwu sect. These 2 people, naturally, came to capture the black dog demon under the order of young Master Xuanhuan. However, after a fierce battle, the 2 found that the dog demon had endless tricks and they could not take it down at all. This is fucking weird. A dog demon at the 7th level of combat, you and I can't even take it down even if we join forces? The beautiful middle-aged woman Tu Jiaojiao asked in surprise. Daoyu Changyun, why hasn't Master Xing come yet? Young Master Xuanwu's heavenly thunder divine water has just arrived. Master Xing will probably come only after the effect of the medicine is seen. Tianwu sect Master Changyun said. In that case, let's withdraw first. This dog demon has monstrous means. You and I can't take it down. The beautiful middle-aged woman Tu Jiaojiao said. Hearing this, the Tianwu sect master also sighed. Alas, this is the only way. This big demon is really sharp. I'm afraid only Master Zhang's supreme divine power can capture it. Tu Jiaojiao had no choice but to nod in agreement. Although she was very unwilling to be ridiculed, she and the Tianwu sect master just used their means together, but found that they couldn't even knock off a hair of the dog demon. On the contrary, she was hit by the dog demon. There were several times when she, a cultivator of the 8th level of the battle, almost suffered a great loss at the hands of the dog demon. Fortunately, there was a high-level cultivator of the battle stage to help, but even so, the 2 were no match for the dog demon. It looks so ordinary, but it can actually cultivate to such a level. I'm afraid it's pretending to be a pig and eating a tiger. Tu Jiaojiao's eyes twitched wildly. The dog demon in front of her looked very ordinary, but it could burst out with a pressure that was no less than that of the ancient mythical beast. If this matter was told to others, no one would believe it. Not only Tu Jiaojiao was shocked, but also Xuanhuan, the leader of Tianwu sect, was also shocked. Yes, this is probably a mythical beast in dog skin, right? Sect Master 2, if the head of the Zheng family doesn't come later, let's try to stay away. If he hadn't received the benefit from young Master Shen this time, he would not bother to touch this bad luck. Tu Jiaojiao and Xuanhuan looked at each other and immediately understood. Then, the two of them tacitly agreed to retreat side by side. At this moment, a divine light fell from the endless mountains. The next moment, the vast black cloud of demonic energy was cut open. A dazzling divine light fell from the endless starry sky above the sky. With the fairy charm and light, it smashed open this piece of heaven and earth, as if a fairy from outer space had arrived. Is the fighting Buddha Zheng fan here? Oh my god, the Zheng family master's casual stick actually broke the demonic cloud that the two high-level warriors couldn't break just now. Don't be surprised. Do you think the name of the fighting Buddha was picked up out of thin air? Yes, the Zheng family master is so powerful, I'm afraid his magic power has improved again. In front of the endless mountains, the onlookers talked a lot, looking at the sky above the endless mountains. Guiyuan sect master Tu Jiaojiao and Tianwu sect master Xuanhuan, upon seeing the arrival of fighting Buddha Zheng fan, immediately bowed and saluted him to show respect. Although the three were high-level warriors, but in terms of realm, both of them were in the 8th level of the battle, while fighting Buddha Zheng fan was in the 9th level, one level higher than them. Young Master Yi, look, fighting Buddha has appeared. The beautiful young master of Qingyang Chamber of Commerce turned her head and introduced to Yi Fan. However, Yi Fan was no longer here. In a moment of distraction, Yi Fan actually ran to the sky above the endless mountains. Xuanhuan turned sideways and caught a glimpse of Yi Fan, who suddenly appeared. He thought that Yi Fan followed some family elder to watch the fun. Where did you come from? Get out quickly, this is not the place for you. However, what Tianwu sect master Xuanhuan did not notice was that since Yi Fan came out, fighting Buddha Zheng fan and the black dog monster in front of him restrained their own pressure. Chapter 69 Recognition. You are listening at NovelFull.audio. Such a scene suddenly happened in the endless mountains, which was a good show for the melon eaters below. This pretty boy came out of nowhere. He's done pretending. I'm afraid it's some powerful junior. I have to say, he's really capable of committing suicide. I'm afraid it's a hornet's fault. But I have to say, this little boy's face is quite handsome. People from the Qingyang Chamber of Commerce also saw this scene. Hey! How could young Master Yi run into the battlefield if I wasn't careful? That everyone in the Chamber of Commerce looked at him sideways, although they have seen Yi Fan kill the 9th level thieves of War King with one sword, but this time and that time, the battlefield in front of us is all about high-level battles. Even the beautiful woman didn't believe that Yi Fan could compete with the high-priced monks during the war. But in the final analysis, Mark is their savior. If they just watched him fall like this, they really couldn't bear it. But what can I do if I can't bear it? These people in the Chamber of Commerce, the strongest monks, are only fighting at a low price. They wanted to rush forward and pull Yi Fan back, but the pressure from Tu Jiaojiao and the others above the endless mountains was overwhelming. This makes them unable to even get close. Just as everyone in the Qingyang Chamber of Commerce was jumping anxiously, Yi Fan above the endless mountains spoke. You traitor, why don't you come here and be punished? Yi Fan said, pointing to Zheng Fan, the victorious Buddha. Boom. Hearing Yi Fan's words, everyone present felt as if they were struck by 5 thunders. Oh my god, did I hear it right just now? This pretty boy actually called the head of the Zheng family a traitor. It's such a pity that such a handsome young man is actually a fool. Below the endless mountains, the melon-eating crowd was talking a lot. Not only them, but everyone in the Qingyang Chamber of Commerce was so frightened that their jaws dropped to the ground when they saw this scene. Everyone took a deep breath, their faces dull and dumbfounded. The beautiful woman bit her lower lip tightly, her eyes full of worry. Mr. Yi, what are you doing? You actually insulted the senior Xuanhuan on the spot. Isn't that true? Are you crazy? That she clasped her hands tightly, and the matter had progressed to this point, which was completely beyond the reach of others. Mr. Yi can only wish for more blessings. Everyone in the Qingyang Chamber of Commerce could only pray that Zheng Fan, the victorious Buddha, would not care about a younger generation. Tu Jiaojiao, the leader of the Guiyuan sect, and Xuanhuan, the leader of the Tianwu sect, who were the same generation as Xing Fan, also had dull expressions at this moment. They were entrusted by young Master Xuanwu to subdue this dog monster. I never expected that I would bump into such a fool. He actually dared to insult Xing Fan, the victorious Buddha, in public, and said, "You are a traitor, and you are following the family law. That do you really think that the high-ranking Xuanhuan people are superior and have no temper?" No matter what Fo Xingfan thought, Du Jiaojiao and Tu Jiaojiao, who were high-ranking warriors, were the first to hold on any longer. Presumptuous. Be bold, that the two of them shouted at Mark. Tu Jiaojiao and the others could not mobilize pressure, but the monks at the peak of Xuanhuan had mastered a trace of the power of the law, so they had their own power. In the next breath, 2 rays of spiritual pressure surged towards Yi Fan overwhelmingly. "Get out of here!" After winning the battle, Xing Fan let out a roar, and a line of spiritual pressure rose into the sky with him as the center. The pressure that had surged towards Yi Fan suddenly dissipated. The head of the Xing family has no business getting angry with such stubborn people. I will tell him to get lost. That's right, Master Zheng, it's getting late. Let's take down the dog demon quickly and don't cause trouble. Tu Jiaojiao and Changyan persuaded. I told you to get out of here. After winning the battle, Xing Fan's coercion suddenly erupted, and his angry roar echoed throughout the venue. Hey, let's get out of here. Tu Jiaojiao didn't know what was going on, pointing to her nose and muttering in a low voice. Just as Tu Jiaojiao and Changyan were in shock, Xing Fan, the victorious Buddha, walked up to Yi Fan and knelt down with a pop sound. Quiet. Deathly silence. Just now, the people underground in the endless mountains were having a lively discussion, but after seeing this scene, these people were instantly confused. The vast endless mountains are so silent that one can hear a pin drop. The shock in their hearts cannot be expressed in any words. You know, what a powerful person Xing Fan was. When the demon clan first conquered the purple gold state, it was during the battle that Buddha Xing Fan took action and swept away many evil spirits with one stick. If it hadn't been for him in the past, the Zijin state would not be as prosperous as it is now. But such a powerful monk at the peak of his wartime career was actually kneeling in front of a young man with such a humble attitude, like a servant. There is only one thought in everyone's mind at this moment: who is that young man in white? Just when everyone was shocked, they saw the victorious Buddha Xing Fan crying in the void of the endless mountains. That's right, this monk who has lived for tens of thousands of years is crying at this moment, and the crying was still so sad and heartbreaking. Seeing this scene, Yi Fan, who originally wanted to engage in Xing Fan's family law, suddenly became less angry. Originally, his son actually wanted to do something to Yi Fan's pet, and Yi Fan was ready to punish Xing Fan, but now, all Yi Fan's anger has disappeared. After all, Yi Fan still didn't take action. He just sighed and said, 10,000 years have passed, Xing Fan, and you are still the crybaby you used to be. But what you did is better than being a father. You must have suffered a lot over the years to develop the Xing family so powerfully. These few words made Xing Fan cry even louder. At this moment, he felt like he had returned to the carefree time of his childhood, although now, he is the head of the family and enjoys the best things every day, but to him, these things are not as good as the time spent with Yi Fan in his childhood. Father. It has been 10,000 years. My son thought he would never see you again. Where have you been all these years? Xing Fan stopped crying and shouted. Everyone on the field looked at each other in shock when they heard the words of Xing Fan, the victorious Buddha. I wonder if there is something wrong with my ears, fighting over the Buddha, Xing Fan, the husband of all people. Actually calling a young man father. It's not that I don't understand, it's just that the world is changing too fast. There is no need to mention the past, but does Xing Fan know why my father punished you just now? Do you know the origin of the big demon you just attacked? It was my father's pet. Yi Fan stared at him and said. Xing Fan shook his head. Yi Fan was his dear father, and he would not refuse anything he asked him to do. Then, Xing Fan suddenly remembered that his father did seem to have raised a big black dog. If this is the case, this matter is right. Only his father could raise such a terrifying monster. Owner. The big black dog heard Mark's words and ran over like crazy. Chapter 70. Watched a good show. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 70, Watching a Good Show, Above the Endless Mountains. Read, after defeating the Buddha Xuanhuan and the Black Dog Demon in a fight, he actually recognized his master on the spot. This really turned out to be a good show for the melon-eating crowd below. The monk at the 9th level is his son. The great demon at the 7th level is his pet. Who is this person? Yes, with such a background, I believe you even if you say he is the Lord of Zijin State. Stop talking nonsense. The surname of our Purple State Master is Shen and I don't believe Zheng. Not only these melon-eating people are talking about it, even the people from the Qingyang Chamber of Commerce seem to be in a state of panic at this moment, like a pot of boiling water, completely boiling. The monk at the peak of war is actually Mr. Ye's son. Is the wartime high-level demon also his pet? This is so scary just thinking about it. However, Mr. Yi claimed that his surname was Yi, not Zheng. Could it be a mistake? In fact, when Yi Fan first came here to establish his power, he did use a pseudonym and did not leave his real name. After creating the Zheng family and receiving system rewards, Yi Fan just slapped his ass and left, just like a hands-off shopkeeper. Yi Fan's Zheng family was led by his son Zheng Fan. After 10,000 years of hard work, it is now somewhat famous in Zijin State. Originally, Yi Fan should be happy for his son. But just now Zheng Fan actually led a team to kill his own pets, which was outrageous. Zheng Fan, this black dog is the same pet I used to have. You two should get along well in the future, you know. Yi Fan helped Zheng Fan up and said to him, in fact, this matter cannot be entirely blamed on Zheng Fan. When Yi Fan established his power here, this black dog was not with him. Therefore, it is normal for Zheng Fan not to recognize the big black dog as one of his own, but after all, he still collided with the black dog. Zheng Fan knew that he was at fault, so he saluted Xiao Hei. Xiao Hei, I was reckless just now, please forgive me. Although he was his father's pet, in Zheng Fan's opinion, he was not necessarily older than him, so it was more appropriate to call him Little Hei. But what Zheng Fan didn't know was that this big black dog had been following Yi Fan since 100,000 years ago. At that time, he was just an ordinary local dog. Later, under Yi Fan's careful cultivation, he gradually became normal. The lifespan of a native dog is only a dozen years at most, but the black dog next to Mark has lived for more than 100,000 years. Seeing Zheng Fan call him Xiao Hei, big black dog is not surprised. Zheng Fan is Yi Fan's son after all, so there is nothing to ask for as a gift. The big black dog wagged its tail, and without saying anything else, he simply asked Zheng Fan, I don't ask you anything else, but who sent you to encircle and suppress me? If you let me know who is behind this, I will definitely make him your favorite. That after following Yi Fan for so long, the big black dog naturally heard about the Black Emperor from Yi Fan, so he had to accept people's favor or not. The person behind the scenes mentioned by the big black dog is naturally young Master Xuanhuan. This time, young Master Xuanhuan sent 3 groups of people to capture the big demon. In addition to defeating Buddha Zheng Fan, they were 2 Jiao, the leader of the Guiyuan sect, and Changyun, the leader of the Tianwu sect. When the 2 sect leaders saw the big black dog uttering arrogant words, they shouted sharply, How dare you! Boom! Following a thunder, the demonic aura in the big black dog's eyes suddenly boiled. The chi machine locked onto 2 Jiao and the 2 of them, as if the sky was falling apart. Not only was the big black dog angry and defeated Buddha Zheng Fan, but in those eyes, the colorful divine light also spread like heavenly fire brewing. Feeling these 2 chi forces, 2 Jiao and the 2 swallowed the words that came to their mouths. Good guy, just a big black dog is not something that the 2 of them can resist. Now there is Zheng Fan, who is at the peak of his fighting career. If he really angers these 2 people, I am afraid they will not even think about leaving the endless mountains today. Go back and tell Xuanhuan that if he dares to take advantage of my father's pet again, don't blame me, Zheng, for turning against him. Also, for the heavenly thunder divine water he sent before, I will send back treasures of the same price later. Zheng has a clear grudge, and from now on the water in the well will not be in conflict with the river. That as the victorious Buddha Zheng Fan let out an angry roar, the peak pressure of the battle suddenly surged out. Seeing that Master Zheng was furious, 2 Jiao and the others naturally did not dare to stay any longer. They turned around and used escape skills to fly away, and their figures quickly disappeared into the sky. The head of the Zheng family had always been very consistent in his temper, and Tu Jiaojiao and the two knew this very well, but what Tu Jiaojiao and Tu Jiaojiao didn't know was that when he was young, Zheng Fan was a crybaby who was afraid of the dark and didn't dare to sleep alone. But ever since Yi Fan gave up his career and handed over the Zheng family to Zheng Fan, he has gradually grown up. From the crybaby follower in Yi Fan's memory, he transformed into a decisive and powerful person in power. In such a cruel world of cultivation, Yi Fan was actually worried earlier, fearing that Zheng Fan would not be able to shoulder this burden. But now his son has obviously done it. Seeing Zheng Fan like this, Yi Fan felt very relieved. Son, seeing you in this state, I know it was right to entrust the Zheng family to you. You are indeed good and you have not disappointed my father. After a pause, Yi Fan then asked, by the way, what did you mean by the heavenly thunder holy water just now? In the early years, after Yi Fan completed the system tasks, he obtained many pills such as the heavenly thunder divine water. This kind of elixir is something that nourishes the soul of a cultivator. Yi Fan has dozens of baskets of this kind of god-level medicine. Seeing his father asking, Zheng Fan told Yi Fan about his great-grandson's imperfect physique. So that's the case. Let's go back to the Zheng family first. After saying this, Yi Fan took Zheng Fan and his party away from the endless mountains. After Yi Fan and his companions left, the crowd of spectators below woke up from their daze. Everyone's face was filled with shock, especially the beautiful girl from the Qingyang Chamber of Commerce, who never thought that Mr. Yi would have such a great background. What? The head of the Zheng family is his son, and the high-level demon in the battle-waiting position is his pet. Done in the wine pool and meat forest, young Master Xuanhuan asked with some surprise. The middle-aged man who had returned had previously informed young Master Xuanhuan of what happened in the endless mountains. Seeing that he didn't believe it, the middle-aged man simply took out the photo stone and reproduced what happened above the endless mountains. It turned out to be the first patriarch of the Zheng family. After watching the video, Master Shen muttered to himself. Hearing this, the middle-aged man asked, Master, what was the plan for the Zheng family before? Master Xuanhuan nodded slightly. The plan mentioned by the middle-aged man was naturally to make the Zheng family submit to him, and to take over the special physique of the great-grandson of the Zheng family. But now that the first patriarch of the Zheng family has returned, he is worried that the plan will be affected. However, Master Xuanhuan did not think so. I know the patriarch of the Zheng family. When he established his power here 10,000 years ago, he was just a cultivator at the War King level. Now that 10,000 years have passed, he has at most reached the high level of the war candidate. Maybe he is not even as good as Zheng Fan. He is not to be feared at all.